to the Cat Dragon.
Hello.
The Tater Tots here. Welcome, Googans.
I'm official now.
You're officially part of the drill team. This is where you've reached the mountaintop. You've climbed. You're like the little mountain climber guy on The Price is Right.
Oh, yeah.
And you finally reached the pinnacle right here. You've reached the top of the mountain. This is it. Welcome in, Googans. Glad you're here. It's Friday.
Friday. Yes.
Hallelujah for that. Jeffro was going to be in today, but he's a little under the weather. He caught some kind of, bird flu or Zika on the cruise, and I really don't need that in my life, so...
Yeah, we're all trying to stay away from that.
So I've recruited the Tater Tot today.
Hello.
My friend Taylor Dowell. We're kind of unofficial siblings, as we're both Chicago roots, proud.
Yes.
She's got her Bears shoes on today. She's bearing down for Sunday's wild card matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
How do you... Confidence meter check right now, Tater Tot, for Sunday. How do you feel?
Confidence meter, I'm at like a 7.5.
What's the line? 6?
Yeah.
6.
6, yeah.
I know when we did the 5-pack, Jeff took the Eagles to cover the 6. Mm-hmm. Danny took the Bears to cover.
Yes.
So it's 6 points is a lot of points in a playoff game.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm excited, but I'm really nervous. I'm so anxious. Yeah. Oh yeah.
What if Foles Magic shows up?
That's what everyone's talking about. But they keep talking about, Eagles are coming in on they're on their roll. They're coming in hot. The Bears have been hot for months now.
Bears have been hot all year.
Yeah,
man.
there hasn't been. We had like our couple weeks.
They only got cold when Chase Daniel had to come in.
Yeah, exactly.
For a couple weeks.
When we lost to the Giants with Chase Daniel.
Yeah, that's the only time they really got cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Bears Sunday myself, but it's Philly's a weird out.
It is.
It's tough. I mean, everybody counted Philly out last year, and they ran all the way to the big brass ring. So it's hard to count Philly out with Foles Magic. Future Jaguar quarterback Nick Foles at the helm for the Philadelphia Eagles. But look, it's a big weekend for football, and it was a big day this morning on the drill because we talked to the big fella Tony Boselli. Again, a finalist for the Hall of Fame. He made the 15 now for the third year in a row. It's not getting like desperate times yet for Tony. This is his 13th year of Hall of Fame eligibility. Mm-hmm. Once you reach 20, that's when they kick you off to the Veterans Committee, as they used to call it, the Old Timers Pool.
Yeah.
For those guys to vote you in. So Boselli's not in panic mode yet as far as getting the vote.
Yeah.
It's a tough crop. We went through it. We kind of ran through the 15, me and Jeff this morning, and now we're homers for Big Bo. We don't make any qualms about it. We root for Big Bo. We want Big Bo to get in the Hall of Fame. Pete Prisco too is a friend of the station. He's also saying, it's time to right the wrong and get a Jag in the Hall of Fame. It's time, and you would think Big Bo would be the first one to get that call. It's a tough crop though, especially much like last year. There was 5 offensive linemen on the ballot last year. There's 4 still this year. It's Big Bo. It's Steve Hutchinson. It's Alan Faneca. And who's the fourth? Who am I having a brain fart about? Kevin Mawae.
Oh yeah.
Are all really? It's hard to argue any of them as not Hall of Fame candidates.
Yeah.
Especially Steve Hutchinson. He was a really, really good player during his time in the league. Everybody obviously gets down on Big Bo because of the length of his career. But I agree with Jeff in that the further along we go, we start talking as much about the length of Boselli's career, and we start talking about how good he was when he was at the top of his game. And he spent 5 years being arguably the premier left tackle in the NFL. He was a dominant force for 5 years. He absolutely wrecked Bruce Smith in the playoffs. He ate Jason Taylor's lunch once right in front of him and flagged him on to come bring more as he was just destroying Jason Taylor. Big Bo.
Well, I think that the only argument people really have about it is the length of career.
That's the only thing.
That's what people say. And then, like Boselli said earlier, too, the judging the offensive line is difficult. He's made a joke about it, but what stat do you really have for
There's
that?
There's no stats. And the hard part is the further you get away from it, you don't remember specifics. You just try and remember, how you remember the player.
Yeah.
And it's like, and guys like Prisco, and I know there's other guys that are very pro Boselli in the room, and there's some that don't vote for Tony because of the length of his career. But the guys that remember Big Bo as a player, remember Big Bo when he played, remember just this absolute meat grinder of a man. He just ate people alive, and he was a dominant force for 5 years, and then he got hurt, man. And that's the reality of it. And a lot of guys face that. He had a 5-year career. He played a little bit. Yeah, he tried to make it go in Houston, but those shoulders were shot.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the road for Big Bo.
And you need those shoulders.
It was unfortunate. We blame it on the tiny pads because he wore those little bitty children-sized pads, and they looked ridiculous.
Well, and I think it's frustrating for Jaguars fans just because last year all of them were first-round ballot guys that got in. So we're sitting here like waiting and waiting. That, okay, 1 year, and then there's some really good first ballot guys this year also. Yeah.
Look, it's going to get down to 5.
Yeah.
It's a max 5 getting in.
Yeah.
And when you get to that final 5, there's 3 guys that are on their first ballot, and I feel like Tony said, 2 of them are absolute slam dunks, and the third one being Champ Bailey. He's absolutely a Hall of Famer. I don't know if he's a first ballot, but he may very well be in the 5 for the discussion before and that's the hard part. And every year. But this is an especially tough year because there's 2 guys coming in that are no-brainer first ballot Hall of Famers. Ed Reed is an absolute legend, and he's going to the Hall of Fame. And Tony Gonzalez is the same thing. Yeah. He's an absolute monster. He revolutionized that position. He's a all-time great player, and he's a slam dunk Hall of Famer. Yeah. He deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, as does Ed Reed. And really, Champ Bailey arguably deserves it as well. But Tony made one good point when we had him on he made many good points, but he made one point when we were talking to him this morning. He said, Ed Reed, during his career and after the fact, is arguably the greatest safety that ever played the game. You never at any point in Champ Bailey's career thought he was the greatest corner of all time. There was a period where he was the best corner going in the league. But there was never a period where you thought he was the greatest of all time. Yeah. And Ed Reed, that argument is there. And that's why Ed Reed is a first ballot. And Champ Bailey, maybe next year, the year after, but he may very well get in on this first try. Nobody's gonna go, oh, geez, Champ Bailey doesn't deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, well, and those safety and cornerback positions, everyone loves. You know, you watch those are 2 of your most people on a team you love watching. If you can find a good safety, an elite safety, and a cornerback, that's who you want to watch.
Right. And look, we love Champ down here. It's now that neither Dan or Jeff are with me, so there's no Gator homerdom. We love Champ down here. He's a pride of Folkston, Georgia. He's a great player, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And another guy who's a big deal down here, who's a lot of people are really frustrated he's not a finalist, is Leroy Butler. Yeah. Leroy Butler is not a finalist this year. John Lynch is. That's a head scratcher to me. I'm not saying John Lynch wasn't a great player, but John Lynch was not Leroy Butler, in my opinion. Yeah. From watching them play ball, Leroy Butler was an absolute freak, and John Lynch was a great player. But I don't think if John Lynch goes to the Hall of Fame and Leroy Butler isn't in the Hall of Fame, then something's messed up. Yeah. And another guy who's a finalist, and we talked about that this morning, is Edgerrin James. And because a lot of Jaguar fans talk about Freddie T, and rightfully so. Yeah, Freddie T was a great player, and it's hard at running back. And the numbers are there for Fred, but the problem is Edge is standing in front of him. And if fair or unfair, I think it's accurate that if Edgerrin James is not a Hall of Famer, then Fred Taylor's not a Hall of Famer. But if Edgerrin James goes to the Hall of Fame, then you got to start talking about Fred. But the hard part is other guys are going to start coming too behind Fred. Yeah. And so the window for Fred to wedge his way in may be very limited. But I agree. I love Freddie T. I think Freddie T was an absolute monster, and I'd love to see him. If T.O. isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, neither is Champ Bailey. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. And it's arguable whether Champ Bailey is first. There's no question he's a Hall of Famer. Same with T.O. But whether he's a first, now I would have put T.O. in on the first ballot. I think T.O. was an absolute gamer. Yeah. But right, Butler.
If you liked him or not as a person, he was a gamer.
No, well, he was an ass clown. But he was a great player. Yeah. And right, Leroy Butler should be in the Hall of Fame before John Lynch. And that was before John Lynch stole Tony Baselli's job on Fox, calling games. That was the final nail in the coffin for John Lynch. He's dead to us down here. Yeah, he played for the Bucks. He stole Baselli's job. That's it.
Done. You're out.
You're dead to us, John Lynch. You're done. That's why you're stuck out there in San Francisco in no man's land, Lynch. Good luck with that. Digging out of that hole. Good luck with the attendance at the title game Monday, John. He has nothing to do with that. I just have to throw dirt on John Lynch whenever I can.
Just blame him for everything.
I blame him for everything I can. So, all right, Tater, real quick before we wrap up. 4 games this weekend. Yes. Not going against the spread. That's what the 5-pack's for. But who will be standing Monday when we get here? So Saturday's games are Colts Texans.
So I'm gonna say Texans on that one.
Okay. And then it's Dallas, Seattle.
Yes, Dallas, Seattle. I actually am going to go for Dallas.
Okay.
I think Dallas is going to pull it out.
Okay, I'm going heads up with you on that one because I like the Colts and I like Seattle there.
Yeah,
And the Sunday games, of course, is your Bears-Eagles game. I would imagine you'd take the Bears there.
Yeah,
and then,
I'm going to go for the Bears.
And then on the AFC side, it's Chargers in Baltimore. In Baltimore.
Yeah, I know. This one is actually kind of the most tough out of all of them for me, you know?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That one's in L.A. My bad.
It's in L.A., yeah. I just know that...
I'm not a smart man, but I do know what love
the
is.
Ravens, they're talking about their defense right now, and they're coming in hot and all of this, but we've seen Chargers all year, and they've looked, I mean, all year long. It's kind of that team where they're pretty consistent, and, I mean, right, what am I saying? Yeah. So, I don't know.
You like Chargers?
Yeah,
I do too. I think we feel the same way. I like the Chargers and Bears on Sunday. I love the Lamar Jackson story. I love what the Ravens have done. I've been very firm. I wish the Jags had taken Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying he's going to inevitably be a great player, but I think he's a good player, and I think he'd be immediately an upgrade here. But I think the magic fairy dust runs out. Sunday in LA. The Chargers are just good enough. I'm not saying the Chargers are running to the bowl or anything.
No, I don't think so.
But they've got enough. And their defense is pretty good too.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be all right there. And I like the Bears against the Eagles. But it's funny, Brian. What time do the Jags play? August.
August PM.
Sometime August, some Thursday in August. I guess probably Atlanta or the Bucks. Because it'll be the preseason opener, and by God, that's who we play. That'll be when the Jags play. Are the Chargers at Baltimore? Oh yeah, the Chargers are a wild card. Hello, because they didn't win the division. That's it. I was right. You convinced me I was wrong, Taylor. Damn you.
Chargers at Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we know
even
the
more
league.
even more in our defense. There.
We know the league. Damn it. All right.
Got this.
On that note, we're gonna end this disaster before we make more fact errors.
Yeah.
Until Monday.
Yes.
I'm not sure who will be here with me Monday. Could be Dan Hicken. Could be Jeff Prosser. Could be Tater Tot. Might be Drew. It won't be Drew.
It could be me, like either really happy or really sad.
Yeah.
So.
Depending on how Sunday goes, Tater Tot might not even show up.
I might not be at work.
She'll come in just dressed in black, tears streaming down her face.
Black umbrella just standing like far behind.
Makeup running off her face, tears, and a little huddling with a little Mitch Trubisky jersey.
Yes.
Your boy Mitchy Boo.
My boy Mitch.
All right, guys. We love you.
Bye,
Until
guys.
next time. Bye.